Hey, it's Justin with Wealth Building Strategies. I wanted to talk about the markets. If you've been following me, you knew there was going to be volatility in the markets. You knew that there was going to be sideways action and some blood in the streets. We've been talking about these dips and these buys and lower lows possibly coming, right, for a while. And here they are. It's Monday. There was a giant sale on XRP at 15% earlier. And it, corrected back up 11%. So if you wanted to make an easy 11% on a short-term position, today was a great day to do it. So for those of you who did want to trade that and executed that, congratulations to you. For those of you who hodled, congratulations to you, because I think we're off to much better days in the future. And I think the future is bright. But today, it's Monday. And Japan, Nikkei stock, ticker symbol N225, dropped 2,642 points today. That's a lot in one day. That is an avalanche of money that flowed out. I don't know how much money that is in liquidity that actually exited the market. I know last week the stock market had 500 billion of liquidity exited the market in just a short amount of time. It was crazy. So there is going to be further corrections. You guys need to be looking for them, and honestly, have some money stashed on the side. I think this thing could go crazy lower. So we live in some volatile times. Realize the tariffs, 37% on China. I mean, that's astronomical. And realize all these nations, 37%, 24%, all this other stuff, okay? That's all imported goods. Everything that's coming into the United States, that's a tariff tax. We're going to have to pay that, right? I mean, supposedly they're paying it, but it's getting passed down, right? I mean, it's going to cause inflation to happen, right? Prices are going to increase on goods. But at the same time, realize that Trump is trying to bring them to the negotiating table. He's trying to bring them to the negotiating table because that is what is going to cause them to negotiate on the tariffs. And he was showing the chart as 67%. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but Trump was showing the chart that China is taxing us on imports at 67%. So we're doing a reciprocating tax, which I think he was showing 34%, I believe. Might have been 37%, but it was extremely high, right? It's about half of what they are charging us. So the whole idea is to bring everyone to the negotiating table, all these countries, and say, hey, you're charging us way too much in tariffs, and we want you to negotiate with us, and we'll lower ours if you lower yours. So he is trying to do that. Do realize that's what's going on. Also realize that before, I believe it was after 1913, but in the 1800s to 1913, before the establishment of the Federal Reserve that we now borrow money from and owe money to, and we keep paying this private entity, the Federal Reserve, money to borrow from, we're paying them interest. Before that, there was tariffs in the United States. We didn't tax U.S. citizens on their income. There wasn't income tax. There wasn't property tax. So that all changed. Realize that when that change happened in 1913, we no longer ran on tariffs. Therefore, we started taxing the people that were working and real estate. And now you have tax on your fuel, tax on your driver's license, tax on your insurance, there's taxes on everything. And then everything's taxed again. So some of what Trump is doing seems to be wanting to bring back that era of tariffs. But what's unfortunate about it is that the amount of pain that is going to endure is going to be exponential. And so that is something that I think people are going to have to take into account. That the pain is going to be greater as he is trying to bring these companies to the negotiating table. And you have to realize that at an X amount of point of pain in the stock market, in the US dollar, at some point the Federal Reserve will end up needing to intervene. And Trump is pushing the envelope on the Federal Reserve. He is wanting the Federal Reserve to come to the negotiating table, lower interest rates. By lowering interest rates, at that point in time, Trump would try to negotiate for a better deal on our debt, therefore saving us $800 billion, probably over $1 trillion. That is part of the plan. You got to realize he's trying to save $500 billion in Doge cuts. He's trying to find money that is unaccounted for, hidden, right? There's another trillion there that can easily probably be found. Not just stuff that's been filtered in the wrong direction or whatever, but actually like money that has been missing. So there's a lot of things, there's trillions of dollars that can literally be had. And by saving all of this money and properly stewarding the money that is being given to the federal government, because you have to realize we're in a giant deficit. When we're only intaking a couple trillion, and 2 trillion more than what we're intaking is going out, which is just keeps increasing. And then the debt is $1 trillion a year, and it just keeps compounding. So he is using tariffs to try to negotiate with the Federal Reserve. He's using tariffs to try to negotiate with other countries to better position the United States. But at the same time, this is bringing a lot of pain, right? It's bringing a lot of pain. And so you need to be aware what's going on. And right now, the negotiating table and the world is scared, with Japan's stock market today on Monday dropping 2,642 points. And IKEA, the ticker symbol is N225. I was shocked at what a drop that was. And honestly, over the weekend, you in cryptocurrency were specifically following this channel for that. Isn't it interesting that the stock market got really slaughtered on Thursday and Friday? I mean, it was not good. I mean, we had some really, really giant, the Dow was taking some serious hits. And lo and behold, Bitcoin is really held its own all the way on the weekend until Sunday, right? Late Sunday. We saw some correction today. There was some giant correction, right? But it held pretty well over Saturday and into, I was actually surprised. That it was holding as well as it was. I wanted to actually make a video on it because I noted that it seemed like Bitcoin was holding while all the other assets were crumbling. Gold had gone down, silver had gone down, stocks were down, but gold seemed to actually be holding. And it seemed, or I was wondering, if there wasn't some sort of separation because of some of the clarity in the crypto space and Trump talking about it and creating the Bitcoin Federal Reserve, if that was ending up creating some stability, maybe some of the money was actually going to be moving from the stock market over into cryptocurrency because maybe that was a more stable asset. But that is yet to be foreseen. I don't think we're quite there yet. I'm hoping, and I know that day is coming, and I know you know that day is coming too. If you don't, that day is coming. Utility will reign supreme, and that's probably not Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has its own place. It's been put in a certain place. But as far as utility coins go, we know the ones that are going to take off. XRP, XLM, XDC, XCN, right? All these payment tokens, all these utility networks, HBAR, Chainlink, right? The one that chains them together, Quant, right? You got quantum computing, you got Chainlink, you have HBAR, which Hedera Hashgraph, they do quantum computing. Yeah, they're linked in with Ripple. They're partners. So as you start connecting all of the dots, which the web is extensive between all these companies, and then working with Google and Yahoo and BlackRock and all of these banks, it is amazing the interconnection between all of these different companies. So you guys need to hang in there and realize we have to hit a bottom at some point. And when we hit that bottom, I want you guys to have some powder dry. That may take a couple weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, right? It may drag out longer. I said lower lows and sideways action. This market is volatile. There's a lot going on. And then you have all these tariffs compounding and other things adding into the equation. It's making it not easy to read charts. I mean, basically you can read a chart and you can say historically this has happened and whatever, and you can look like it's bullish, but then all of a sudden some macroeconomic event, some event spoken by a politician, or, you know, an emergency Federal Reserve meeting comes out one day, and then all of a sudden your portfolio goes down by giant amounts because of the fact that a little bit of news is really what drives the market. And just as they drive it down, they can also drive it the other way. So they knew that the market would react to these tariffs. We will see what happens in the coming days as the stock market around the world and other countries react. Are they going to be more riled up? Are they going to drop further in other countries? Or will some of these countries come to the negotiating table with Trump and speak about the tariffs and the percentages and figure out a solution on both sides that they feel is more fair to the United States of America? Because that's really what Trump is saying and wanting, and he is doing that through force, right? Because we are one of the nations that import more trillions of dollars of materialistic things than any other nation. So these nations have a lot to lose by losing the United States of America. So they are going to come to the negotiating table, and Trump knows that. So be watching for the negotiations. Pay attention to what's going on. Don't be fearful. Don't be scared. Fear's from the enemy. Peace and wisdom and that surpasses all understanding is from the Creator. So remember, you need to be listening to the Creator in this season. So we believe in building wealth, but we also believe in listening. And part of listening is listening to the one that created you. So I think that's important. God bless you on your journey. I pray peace and wisdom upon you in these turbulent times. Take care. I'm out.